Well, today is Tuesday, it's the 28th of May, it's 2024, and I'm at the Torre del Pau, and it's actually a municipal park, but it wasn't originally. Let's try and find out some more. Well, the first thing we notice is that this municipal park, Torre del Pau, has actually got a moat around it. A little bit of trash in there, but a moat nonetheless, and what looks a very effective moat. We look around the other side, it's got a moat within a moat, and some emplacements there which could be used for firing at anybody who managed to get into the moat. No drawbridge, at least not now, but apparently there was in the past, but quite a magnificent entrance. Let's go and investigate this park. It's in Coll and Rabassa, and it's open from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. It's even got its own resident cat and some very big gates. Wow, where do we start? We can go up, we can go down, or we can go to the side. Might even be able to go to the bar. This does look an amazing sort of place. I'm a little bit lost. I don't know where to start. So I'm just going to go march straight on. There are several cats. And it does say that there's games for the children as well, adults. I think there's one of them. And as you can see, it's a fort.
The Torre del Pau fort is located in the town of Coll and Rabassa, just on the outskirts of Palma. Fairly close actually to the airport. Its current state of conservation is relatively good, but it has in the past had its dark moments, and all kinds of dirt and litter were there, even syringes. All that is now being cleaned up, and it's now in its current state. It has a garden, and it has some popular play area games for the young children, but in the past it had cannons, lots of cannons, and lots of gunpowder. So we're going to have a look around, see what we can find.
I've actually seen one other person walking a dog here. Some more people up there.
The site itself dates back to the 14th century, when it would have been used with primitive constructions used as watchtowers. These were developed and became a little bit more elaborate. In 1667 a new one was built, which was much better than the old one. And there's supposed to be a tombstone somewhere that you can see which depicts this and tells you where it was. I couldn't find it. One of the big questions is, who was Pau, and what's he got to do with it? So before we answer that, we'll look at a man named Miguel Roig. It's believed that he was not only the builder, but he was also in charge of maintaining and guarding the tower. He had a concession that was then renewed in 1699 in favour of one of his descendants, who was in fact Pau Roig, and it's thought that that is the Pau that it's named after. something about holes in the ground. Whenever you see one, you want to know what's down at the bottom. Well, I just had to have a look, see what's down in this one.
A little park for children to play.
Well, as the years passed, more and more work was done on the place, and historical records show that some preliminary work was done in 1888, and that involved the expropriation of the surrounding land and the expanding of the perimeter. And that was originally going to be in the form of a pentagonal fort. That plan was changed, and it turned out to be a rectangular fort.
Part of the wall here has been broken down, big iron gates to stop people getting in. She's all sealed off.
By 1898, the work would have been largely completed, and the artillery pieces would be put into place, and they would be able to fulfill their defensive role from their positions. But the importance of the Torre del Pau was not at all evident. Much of the work, much of the infrastructure was actually underground, and there are a network of passageways and warehouses to store gunpowder, projectiles and supplies, all vital resources in a time of war.
The steps are up the ramp.
And this was what I was particularly interested in, but unfortunately none of these were open to the public. In a way, the Torre del Pau was part of the so-called Plan 33. This was a defensive strategy for Mallorca that was drafted in 1933 by a certain Francisco Franco, who was the general commander of the Balearic Islands. This plan recommended a fixed defensive organisation on the coastline and marked a number of points of interest, including Illetas, Cap Endrocat and the Castle of San Carlos.
It's Calagamba. More cats. This is actually to prevent processionally caterpillars. Interesting. This looks as though where it would have been one of the main gun emplacements. Now a place to sit. And before the apartments had been built in front there, would have had a panoramic view to watch any incoming invaders. And now the incoming invaders are coming by aeroplane, and we've got a fantastic view of them coming in. Well, lots and lots of places are sealed off. These must be where the powder and the weapons were kept. And well, you never know, one day they might open that up. Or maybe I'm looking on the wrong side. This place is huge. I don't think it's the biggest one on the island, but it may be the biggest one that's accessible. And San Carlos is quite big, but there's another one a little bit further along the coast from here, which has actually been bought by a private individual and turned into a hotel. And when I was looking at the hotel, some of the rooms were as much as 6,000 euros a night. 6,000 euros for one night. I don't think we'll be going to investigate that one. You never know. It has got an amazing view here. You can see why it was built overlooking the Bay of Palma before, of course, all of these buildings were here. There's lots and lots of benches here. There's lots of places you could sit and relax. Some of them are in the shade, a lot of them are not. I came in. Just going to have a little walk around different parts. Oh, I'd like to go and investigate inside. I'm going to go down. You never know. It does remind me of the forts near to where Lara lives, just outside Portsmouth. Very similar sort of idea. And the door has been sealed off. This one, I think, probably goes out to the moat. The reason it caught my eye originally was because I saw that there was a concert here, and I'm guessing this is where the concert was performed, and it looked like a curious place and somewhere I'd never heard of, so I ended up looking it up, and that's how I discovered this fort. It's got a well here, so amongst all of the other provisions it needs, it's going to need water, and the thing that you always used to do is create a well, or a big tank down below to collect the rainwater, which is done very effectively. Interesting space. Looks like I've got a few steps. I've come down, so now I've got to go up. Just tiny little steps. It's actually marked out as a basketball pitch, I think. Still going up. Ooh. And these fortifications are to the rear, and that's where I've actually parked the car. You can walk all the way around it. More swings and things. So there doesn't seem to be any access to anything that's underground, which is a shame. But what you can actually see above ground is just as fascinating. So I'm glad I've actually made the journey over to Coll and Rabassa. Coll and Rabassa is right next to the airport, so not far away at all. This is the other side we're looking down on. I'm guessing down there, that's where the vaults where the gunpowder would be. Oh, what a fascinating place. guessing this would be the guard room at the front for the entrance, and that's all bricked up as well. And there are the builders through the gate doing their work. Well, when I was reading about it, there was some sort of gravestone or tombstone or something which seemed to indicate where it was originally. I can't see anything. Here's a coat of arms, but that's not it. This is a modern sign, and a sign on the other side. I don't know what's happened to that. And I do find it a really fascinating place, and I'm glad I've come to investigate and find out a little bit more about the Torre del Pau. Some place so close to home I never even knew it existed. Well, thanks very much for watching. I'm going to have a little walk around the outside, see if I can see anything from the outside. If I find anything interesting, I'll add it on to the end of this video. But thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now. Well, there's the tower that I've just come out of, the entrance, and the moat continues all the way around, and well, the road ends here, but there's it looks to be like a little park area that we can have a little walk through, and we can see the outside. It's all reasonably well kept. There's a nice fence so you don't fall in the moat, and there's little tracks around here, which I think are probably very popular with the dog walkers, and the sea is just over on that side. But this is all the fort here that's been built up. I don't know when it was restored, but I can imagine before the restoration, the young people, the young lads particularly, would have loved it. I mean, it's the sort of thing I would, as a boy, would have loved playing around. And there are several forts on the island. Some of them are accessible, even though they are derelict. It's a bit exposed to the sun here, and temperatures are pretty good, around 26, 27 degrees. Not burning hot, but nice and warm. I think by doing this little bit of a video, you get a feel of how big this place is. It's not the original design, of course. This is now a rectangular fort, and the original design was one which was going to be pentagonal. So somebody had a change of heart along the lines. To see a little bit more of the moat. And the park that goes down. There is a high road as well. Which do I take? High road or the low road? So reminds me of Andy Williams Actually, the high road looks a little bit rickety, so I'm going to take the low road. It's got a bit more shade in it. I think we'll all get to the same place eventually. And there is a road just to the side here. You can't drive all the way around it, I don't think. So you can drive 3 sides. A lovely shaded avenue for me to walk through. So I did see in there was a band that went around a tree, which is to stop the processionary caterpillars. It's the first time I've seen them actually. I read about them and said that they were going to do these belts around trees in order to catch the processionary caterpillars. It was an experiment and is seen as a way of eliminating the processionary caterpillars without using insecticides that get sprayed into the air, which sounds a really good idea. But you can just see in the little bit of a park I'm walking through the number of pine trees there are. You'd have to put one round every single pine tree, and then if you get into the forests, then there are just, well, millions of them. We had a hurricane a few years ago that blew through, and the reports in the paper talked about how many millions of trees had been knocked down. They're all pine trees. They could all be harbouring those processionary caterpillars. So while it's a nice thought, I don't think it's very practical on a large scale. Back to the drawing board, boys. Lots of birds. Just as I arrived, there was a hoopoe, and it came very close to me. Other people were walking past and seemed to be frightened of them, but it would come very close to me. It was really quite something. I've got a little bit of video of that. And I managed to take a few photos too. And we have the big metal bird behind me coming into land. There's another entrance to the fort. Looks like another entrance, possibly from the road. There's a tree in the way. And yeah, that would take you right down and into the fort. Park continues around here. The fort itself is largely made out of moraise, which would have been the building material of choice when it was originally built, because it's local, it doesn't have to be transferred very far, and it's quick and easy to construct with. The more modern material that we've got down below where I'm walking is concrete, and well, there's lots of that. It does fascinate me. So this is now the back wall. I did walk on the inside of the back wall. I said in the video that I parked on this side of it, and they've even got events and placements here. Which again reminds me of, I think it was Fort Nelson. where they are actually protecting from the land side of an invasion of the fort, not from the seaside. Some motorhomes parked along here. I've spoken about those in other videos. Well, I think that's it now. I'm more or less back to where the car is parked, and I found it really quite a fascinating place. So thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. So bye for now.